video before we get started.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Mike, we are now streaming live on TV, so whenever you and Janine are ready, I guess you guys can go ahead and get started.
Okay, I see Scott there. Good. Everybody ready?
Yep.
Okay, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is March 2nd, the Cuyahoga County Safety and Justice Affairs Committee meeting. Roll call, please.
Calling the roll, Mr. Gallagher,
Here.
Ms. Conwell,
Present.
Mr. Tuma,
Here.
Mr. Jones,
Here.
Ms. Simon. Simon is absent at the moment. There is a quorum. Also like the record to reflect that Councilman Miller is in attendance.
Hello, Mr. Miller. Any public comment?
No, Mr. Chair, no one has submitted any public comment.
In our packets, you received the minutes of the February 16th meeting. If they're in order, I'll accept a motion and a second.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second, Conwell.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. 2021-0057.
Resolution number 2021-0057, making an award on requisition number 2911 to mental health services for homeless persons doing business as frontline service in the amount not to exceed $868,300 for children who witness violence services.
And who do we have speaking on this?
Thank you, Councilman Gallagher. This is Alex Pelham, Director of Public Safety and Justice Services, and I have Jill Smilek, who serves as our witness victim manager for the division and is our SME on this. Today, we're requesting approval of Resolution 2021-0057 on second reading suspension of rules. This proposed award is to frontline services totaling $868,300 for services related to the Children Who Witness Violence program. This program has been existing since 1999 and is driven by police referrals to a 24-hour hotline staffed by crisis intervention specialists. In this program, contact is made within 30 minutes of referral. It may come in face-to-face, or in some instances, if there are unsafe conditions or other mitigating factors, it may be a call, but face-to-face contact does occur within the first 24 hours. This RFP was released in October of 2020. Frontline was the only respondent to it. And one additional note for the council and the committee's consideration is this contract also serves another purpose. It is the dollars that we expend also serve as our local match for the annual Victims of Crime or VOCA grant that we get.
Thank you. Is Ms. Smilek going to speak, or she's not there?
I'm here. I'm just available for questions if anybody has them.
Thank you. Questions for either Alex or Jill?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
through the chair to Ms. Smilek or Mr. Pelham, just wanted to know, is the $868,300 per year or for the total 2 years?
That is for the duration of the contract, I believe. Correct, Jill?
That is correct. It is a 2-year contract.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further? Okay, hearing none. If everybody, and again, I see their time is past due, so I would accept a motion to move Resolution 2021-0057 to the full council under suspension of the rules. Could I have that motion in a second, please?
So move, Conwell.
Second, Jones.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Against? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman.
Resolution 2021-0058.
Resolution number 2021-0058, making an award on requisition number 3186 and enter into a membership participation agreement with Chagrin Valley Dispatch Council in the amount not to exceed $1,521,475 for dispatch operation services for law enforcement activities.
Alex, are you taking this or is it Brandy?
This one will be the Sheriff's Department, Councilman.
Oh, okay.
Stephen Witt with the Sheriff's Department. This is a request to establish a contract with Chagrin Valley Dispatch for dispatch operations for the Sheriff's Department for the next 2 years ending December 31st, 2022. We conducted a RFP for this contract, which was advertised in the Plain Dealer. It was issued September 17th, 2020 and closed October 9th, 2020. We received one response from Chagrin Valley Dispatch. When reaching out to other agencies that provide this service, we received several no responses, and one said they could not be competitive. With that, I'll turn it over to Captain Jerome to speak more on the actual project.
Good afternoon, Council. I just have a couple of bullet points on why we're here and why we're requesting this today. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Everyone else?
So
Go ahead.
it's a little bit of brief history with our radio room dispatchers. The past couple of years, we have been trying to consolidate this dispatching with CCOMs. And some of the reasons for that on our end is that it was challenging on our end to keep this radio room dispatch fully staffed. It takes a minimum of 10 operators in that unit, which works 24/7, 365. During these discussions with CCOMs last year around August, it was decided CCOMs were going to go in a different direction and could no longer provide those services for us. Command staff, executive staff met on this, and we felt that the best way to provide these services were to outsource that. As stated before, we sent out an RFP to the regional dispatch centers for services. Chagrin Valley was the only one that responded with proposal. I did email that proposal out, so you had a chance to review it. Again, some of the reasons why we're looking to do this is, again, staffing is an issue with us. Currently, the radio room is staffed with 3 full-time civilians and 6 deputy sheriffs, which takes resources away from our operation here at the Justice Center and at the other courthouses. Another reason is stabilization. This is a unit which, again, 24/7 operation, and when we can't fill that position with full-time operators, we're continuously backfilling with deputy sheriff's staff. We feel that Chagrin Valley would provide that stabilization for us. Financially, it's taken a toll on us the past year, especially 2020, when we had to fill this position with deputy sheriffs. Obviously, deputies make more money than a radio room operator. So combine that with overtime, financially, took a toll on us. Reasons we would like for Chagrin Valley to do it. One is we're already co-located with them out at their dispatch center in the Bedford Medical Center. We've been out there for several years now, so we have a good working relationship with the employees at Chagrin Valley. We feel that Chagrin Valley also serves 32 municipalities. That's also stated in their proposal. So communications throughout the county is a major thing for us. We feel that they'll offer a better quality of service with their trained, certified dispatchers. And then, consolidating services to us brings about some situational awareness, and it allows for greater collaboration. I think an example of that was recently there was a threat of gun violence at Bay Village High School. We weren't aware of that situation at the time, even though we're co-located. We had to learn that through other resources. Having Chagrin Valley handle that dispatch would make us more aware of these events that go on so we can respond and send resources that way. As stated, we do have 3 full-time civilian employees that work at our radio dispatch now. I've been working with Law and their union director on an agreement and side letter. We would bring those 3 employees over to the Sheriff's Department, and they would fulfill needed roles here within our civilian division. That's about all I have right now, so we'll open up to any questions.
Thank you. Brandy, if you could jump in here, is this an indicator of where we probably are going to be going in the near future? Of, we had the battle of consolidating the dispatches, and now I think we're going to have maybe less of a battle of consolidating the consolidated dispatches, which going way, way, way back was myself and Mr. Greenspan, and not knowing what we were talking about, but we thought that was the best way to go. Are we heading that way?
Thank you, Councilman Gallagher. Brandy Carney, Chief of Special Operations for the county. I absolutely agree. I just want to make, and I absolutely support this request for the Sheriff's Office. I want to provide just one bit of clarification. So in 911, there's 2 different institutions in Cuyahoga County. There's what's called a call taking. So the first person to answer the phone when you call 911 is still a function that CCOMS provides and has always provided for Cuyahoga County. The second function is the actual dispatch operation, which is the radio communication with the on-scene officer or with the fire and EMS. As you know, a few years ago, at the time when we were encouraging consolidation throughout the county, at that same time, CCOMS, the idea was for us to also get into the business of dispatch consolidation. So in addition to the call taking, we would also want to do dispatch operations. Over the last 5 years, and as you have alluded to, and it wasn't necessarily your vision at that time, CCOMS took on Olmsted Township. They since went to another regional dispatch center that's been very popular. We currently have East Cleveland, and that contract, I think, will be coming in front of you to end soon. So CCOMS is not a dispatch operation probably moving forward in the future. It wasn't something that worked, but what does work for them is this function of providing call taking throughout Cuyahoga County, and that's what they're continuing to do and do well. Regarding the dispatch, there's a couple of these centers, as you know, and this group knows better than anybody, Chagrin Valley, Strongsville, Parma. There's regional dispatch centers that have really taken on this role in Cuyahoga County and have helped us immensely with our consolidation efforts. And that's really what we're getting down to. Those key few centers that really do this and do this well and do that function well. There's economies of scale. There's so many opportunities when you have a large regional dispatch center, rather than, as Chief Jerome talked about, if there's 1 or 2 persons in each of these smaller centers, it's difficult to function. So I think this is the best path and the right path moving forward, and I also support this request.
And what do you envision for the future as far as those future consolidations?
There's that's a good question. There's a limited consolidation in Cuyahoga County. We started off, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but if I recall, in March of maybe 2013, we had about 48 dispatch centers. I think we're down to about 20 now, but really, as I stated, there's only a handful of regional dispatch centers, true regional centers. So over the next few years, there's opportunities for that 20 to go down And really, whether it be 2 or 3 dispatch centers countywide that can provide this regional effort, also knowing that we have City of Cleveland as a regional entity. You said it, you guys saw that vision a long time ago, but it's been happening and will continue to happen.
Okay, thank you. Questions for anyone on the panel?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Miller.
thank you very much. And I have have just one question probably for Brandy Carney. So when you were talking about the distinction between call taking and dispatch, does that mean that when a call is received that the call has to be received and then it has to be transferred to another place to do the dispatch?
So that is the explanation regarding the call taking. It is not a requirement in dispatch. The reason that we're set up in that way in Cuyahoga County is because of 911 technology it's archaic technology. To take a step back, I think Alex is the one that always says you can order a pizza on your GPS cell phone, but when you call 911, it's still pinging towers. It's not an accurate science. So because of that inaccurate science in Cuyahoga County, when we were set up to have multiple dispatch centers, and when I'm saying when we had 50 dispatch centers, having an entity like CCOMS be call taking so that those calls aren't going all over, there's one entity that all the calls can come into and concisely be sent out, works for Cuyahoga County. As that number of dispatch centers gets down lower and lower, and those geographical lines cross larger boundaries, it's less of an issue. So as we get down lower and lower to dispatch centers, there's less of a need for that call taking function, but right now it's a good function that CCOMS provides and provides well for Cuyahoga County. So it's not a requirement, but technically it's an asset in Cuyahoga County, I would say now.
So how much time does that add to how long it takes to get a dispatch out? In these emergencies, seconds can be the difference between life and death. How much time does that add to the process?
Absolutely a fair question, Councilman. There's requirements in Ohio Revised Code that 911 calls have to be answered, 90% of the calls within 10 seconds. CCOMS has always met minimum requirements and exceeded those. So the value of having them immediately answer the phone, but there is, and because of the call transfer, a 30 seconds, depending on how long the other dispatch center might take to answer that phone, there's a delay that occurs because of that transfer. It could be anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute. Us transferring the call to a regional dispatch center, they might answer the phone much more quickly. A smaller dispatch center with one person might be tied up, and so CCOMS might have to wait on the line. Another value of having CCOMS right now, wait with the caller. But there is a delay as we have only a handful of regional centers throughout Cuyahoga County. There's less of a need for that extra step, I would say.
So when the call taker answers the phone, what questions do they have to ask before they can send it to dispatch?
They ask minimal. That call gets out as quickly as possible. What city are you calling for? And they have address information that they can check and map and geographical information, but they immediately find the location of the emergency and transfer that call. They are not taking other information because they are instead transferring that call and getting that to that dispatcher as quickly as possible. So they are just asking what city is your emergency and transferring.
Okay, so they don't even have to ask whether it's fire, police, or EMS. That gets done at the dispatch level.
That's correct. That's correct. It goes directly to police in Cuyahoga County. That's correct.
So it's just what's your address, what city are you in, and that's it.
It's what is the address, or what city is your emergency?
Okay, fine. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome, sir.
Good questions. Anyone else?
I do, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you to Brandy. Good afternoon. Good to see you on Zoom. Just a question. You said there's 20 dispatch centers now. We reduced it through the course of the last 10 years. And but you said there's only of that, there's only a few regional ones per se. I know there's Chagrin Valley that we're discussing, and which others? The one at Severance, I guess.
Sure. So, and I apologize for not having this exact. So there's the Heights Hillcrest Dispatch Center, which has, as you know, Councilwoman, on the east side with, I think, 4 or 5 cities that they dispatch for. There's Chagrin Valley. There's also the new Brecksville Broadview Heights centers. All of those, however, are in fact affiliated at some level with Chagrin Valley. So they have affiliation, and Chagrin Valley is kind of their parent company, for lack of a better word, that they work with. There's also the Parma Regional Dispatch Center. City of Cleveland has a regional dispatch center. And there's the Strongsville, which is the Southeast Regional Dispatch Center. Outside of that, there's a couple that have maybe 1 or 2 cities that they dispatch for, but not much larger than that. And then there's a number of singular city dispatches.
Brandy, thank you. Has there been further discussion with the city of Beechwood, perhaps trying to establish itself as a hub? I know that's been discussed over the years.
It has, and with changes in administration, and that might be a better question for Alex. I know their new police chief, who is really phenomenal, the old Rocky River police chief, and he was always a proponent of consolidation. So I haven't had any recently. I don't know if Alex, your team, or CCOMS has, but it's a great question. You're on mute.
Okay, now I'm unmuted. Sorry, I had multiple layers of mute. Councilwoman Simon, that's a great question. There are some talks ongoing. I don't want to spill their beans of who they're talking with and what they're doing, but there are some talks that are going on between Beechwood and some other areas.
Okay, thank you. And just lastly, Mr. Chair, if I may, in terms of the parent company, Chagrin Valley, what do they provide? Do they provide administrative supports or ordering, technology, equipment? What do they do for these centers?
I can speak somewhat to that. So, some of it they provide technology support for, some of it there's a master contract, and they operate like with services out of multiple physical locations, but under a single set of principles and policies and procedures. So I just know that there's affiliation with all of them and that they're all part of Chagrin Valley Dispatch at some level, but I can get you more specific information. I haven't followed up on that recently.
That's okay.
And if I could add one thing, sorry, there's also the continuity place where there are multiple locations. So if one site went down, there's a continuity of operations where they can continue to dispatch and continue to do what they do.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you.
Anything further?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
just real briefly to Ms. Carney or Mr. Pelham, with respect to the centers, the dispatch centers, does the county get involved in attempting to find partners for various dispatch centers, or is that really a municipal function to deal with as far as finding fits for their individual dispatch centers?
Do you want me to take that, Brandy?
Sure.
Okay. We do work, through the Police and Fire Chiefs Associations, through the Technical Advisory Committee, if there are people that come to us with assistance, but traditionally the one-on-ones are those interactions between local administrations and the chiefs and the mayors.
Okay, I was just curious because I know sometimes those contracts come up and the various municipalities are looking for partners, and I just didn't want a duplication of that, or in the event that a municipality was having difficulty, if the county ever got involved, if they could approach the county for maybe looking for a partner. Wasn't sure if that ever happened. So that's all. Thanks.
Anything further? Anyone else? Okay. Hearing none and seeing that time is not of the essence, correct? Alex?
I'll defer to the Sheriff's Department on that one. This is their item. Apologies.
Councilman, we will request a suspension of rules.
And what is the emergency?
Right now, we have 6 deputy sheriffs currently working radio room operations. We'd like to get those deputy sheriffs back here at the Justice Center when our courts division opens up, so they can work up there with the judges and court staff.
Well, regardless of that, this wouldn't take effect till April 28th.
It will give Chagrin Valley time to set up operations.
I'm sorry, we have some also. It would also give Chagrin Valley time to set up operations. It's probably going to be about a 90 to 120 day transition period to get Chagrin Valley staff trained on our various data systems and databases, stuff like that. So we would request that suspension.
What does the committee feel about this?
I am fine if it's going to help with speeding up the safety and dispatch. I mean, I'm okay with that.
Mr. Chairman, I'm okay with it as well if it means implementing some processes to get things moving along.
Okay. All right.
And I'm okay with it as well.
Okay. Ms. Conwell, you all right?
Yep, I'm fine.
Okay. Well, if everybody, it seems everybody's okay with that. If I could have a motion to move resolution 2021-0058 to the full council under suspension of the rules.
So you need a motion to
Motion.
suspend? So moved.
I'll make that second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay, all righty. That moves to the next council meeting. Miscellaneous business. Next meeting in 2 weeks, we're going to be bringing the Terry Allen back in to give us an update regarding the dosages. Now it's 60 and above. Johnson & Johnson, as you all know, just announced that they'll be out literally today to provide more doses to the various states, which is welcome news. So we'll bring Terry back in to update us as far as how this is going. I keep hearing of more confusion with our seniors, which I thought we were going to deal with in a certain way, and we didn't, but we can have that discussion then. I think the more information we get out there to the seniors, it makes it a little bit easier for everybody concerned. So with that said, I look forward to in 2 weeks seeing you, and we are adjourned. Thank you.